we're back with Messy on Purpose. Again, soloing this, but I have my buddy over here
Mm-hmm.
on as a guest. So Lee is back.
I'm back.
He was one of our very first guests, which
Yeah.
is pretty cool. We're kind of starting a season 2 here, and
Circling back.
we're circling back.
I love it.
So we're going to talk about your journey
Mm-hmm.
in life in general, I think, right?
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a good start. I'm going to do an abridged version of my life because I've done so many things. I mean, I'm not, you know, purposely saying that because I feel like I'm awesome or anything like that, but I am a pretty good human, I believe, and I've gone through a process of, as most of us should, like a death and rebirth of self, I guess, and I was just kind of selfish, but I don't know. Where do we start?
What is selfish about that? Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Well, no, you're right.
You
I think
have
I was selfish before. Not about bringing in, but that's more of like who I was before, like maybe 7 to 8 years ago, when I was married, and just a little bit after that, I was in my own shit, kind of.
Yeah,
So,
and like I mean, we all go through periods where we're a little more selfish, but like I don't think it's selfish to work on yourself and make
No,
yourself better.
not at all.
I think that's a good thing, and I think if you have to take that time and distance yourself, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
And making choices to remove things that people find almost like you're being an a-hole.
Yeah, yeah.
Like you're not doing that out of spite. You're doing that out of growth. It's
Absolutely.
different.
Yeah, no, it 1000%. And you've done, so much work on yourself, and you've taught me some things about myself. I think that the issue, well, not even an issue, it's more the thing that I love about growth is that it typically is.
A little
Go
bit
ahead.
so that way it's more
Oh,
in
perfect.
here. There you go.
Perfect. But I think that with growth, when we are trying to expand ourselves on anything in life, I wholeheartedly believe that those, as you're walking through the door, like let's just say this door that each time we go through could be like 10 to 20 or whatever, or 10, 15, 20 years of age, the door gets smaller.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're working on yourself, typically we try to have the same baggage with us as we're going through this door, but that dog don't hunt. Those bags don't fit. All that type of stuff that I'm trying to bring to this new life, this new person that I would like to become. And that goes for anybody that's trying to do that self-searching to be better. Those bags are always going to stay the same, but you have to be willing to let go. And there's always going to be more stuff with you. I got to follow me. Yeah, you keep adding. But like as those doors getting smaller as you go through them, we push ourselves to being something different. And people see us in different light. I mean, like, just even the first time I met you and who I am now, just the relationship that we have with your awesome husband and just people that you're surrounded by, I just innately just want to become better and just different, failing at 75 hard because I didn't do X, Y, and Z. I was really mad at myself when we had first done that, but it taught me a lot about, hey, I can do these things. And I don't want to go too much into the body and stuff like that because there's a lot of misnomers, but I swear, I feel like the more I the more I benefit and try to get in shape. That is one of the toughest things that has been for me since I was like maybe 40 or maybe like to say 39 or something like that. Being in shape and having the wherewithal to be not vulnerable, but just more of just having, being consistent and not lying to myself. Because I think a lot of times, a lot of us, as we're going through things, we think that we're not the worst version of ourselves when we actually are living and not being who we should be. And a lot of that, I think, with growth is the understanding of like, maybe I'm kind of a dickhead and I procrastinate and I don't do the things I should be doing. And if you can allow yourself that space to say, hey, this is who I am. If you really open that in that, the mirror, that reflection, and some people are like, because mirrors reflect different things, and meaning that there are mirrors that are like 10% reflective all the way up to 80% reflective. And most of the time, when you go to that mirror that everybody hates, it's a really highly reflective mirror. When you go to I'm dating myself, but Mervin's or like Macy's or the store and you try on something, you're like, why do I look so bad? You take off your shirt like, golly, what am I doing right now? Because those reflective mirrors aren't the same reflective mirrors that we have at our house. They're highly more reflective and they show more these, ugh.
I actually watched or listened to a video this morning that it was just like a little quote, but it was like basically, if someone calls you fat, there's probably some truth behind it. Or if someone calls you lazy, there's probably some truth behind it. So these people don't throw things out for no reason most of the time.
Right.
There's usually some kind of truth behind it.
Yeah.
And like that again is just like taking that
Mm-hmm.
that responsibility for your actions
That's
that
exactly it.
put you in that position to even be called that. Not that it's okay for people to just be like, you're fat.
Yeah.
But like it could be somebody saying something to help you. I mean, you know, like giving honest feedback, and you have to be able to take that, or criticism. We've talked about with your work, which we'll get into that, but
Yeah.
but like we've talked about how you said that you've struggled before with getting criticism from people,
Yeah.
and how you've had to grow to get past that. So like those
It's
are
huge.
I mean, those are things like if somebody's saying something, there might be some truth behind it, and it's a good time to reflect.
It's it's a great time to reflect, and when you're dealing with the industry of like film, and I've been lucky enough to work with some really cool people outside of what I brought to, or the energy that we bring, or what I brought to Las Vegas, being in from California, and knowing a lot of people, and we're gonna go back a little bit, but I just, it's just criticism is a part of the industry, and if you can't take that,
I think it's a part of every industry, though. Like no
yeah,
matter what
it is.
position you're in, you have to be able to take it in order to grow. Unless you're planning on doing the same job repetitive for the rest of your life, like
Yeah.
there's going to be criticism in order to grow into something new.
It is. You're right, and to be criticized uh, when some people are trying to help you, and you have to discern between is this helpful or not. But regardless if it's helpful or not, is there a willingness between what they might be saying that's 1% true, and if I can get my head around if what they're saying, regardless of whatever they're saying, if 1% of that could be true, I need to open myself up to that. And typically people are closed, and myself included.
Mm-hmm.
I try to be very open when I'm talking about my art, and I'm very protective about that too as well. But at the same exact time, by saying that, it's an art, and there is up for option for people to say, "Hey, this is what I got out of what you showed me." They have opinions.
Well, and with art's a little tricky
Mm-hmm.
because art is it's someone's like passion basically coming
Mm-hmm.
out into something,
Mm-hmm.
and that can be very I don't know how to like word it, but like
It
basically everyone's gonna have a different opinion, and how what brought that art out in you
Mm-hmm.
is something that other people might not get.
And that's the thing too. What I sometimes do in my own head, I take exactly what you said, and then I try to equate that to like if I was actually a painter or something like that. Because all art is.
Yeah.
And then what I do is I make that like, see, well, this is mine, a movie.
Yeah.
And a movie's not the same as, I mean, to me, I mean, it is art, but it's collaborative too as well. And if if I want to work at the bigger stage, which I think that I might get a chance, I've got some things popping.
Ooh, we're gonna have to hear about that.
Yeah. So if you want to work at a larger level, especially like that, it's not just me painting on a canvas. I mean, even though it is the same, like you said,
but
I have
there's
to be
a lot more into it, a lot more people, a lot more factors.
Yeah, I've got studios that are saying, "Hey, that," and I can't get butthurt about that. So I feel like
it's not
what
a
I've been
solo
learning,
thing.
yeah, what I've been learning with like being with everybody, you know, helping out and stuff like that. When we had done something together, and I needed to be more open with you, like, "Hey, what's going on right now?" And like, you know, you said, "Hey, you know, this feels really awkward right now, and I want to tell you how I'm feeling." And I'm just like, "Ugh." And then you said what you said, and I was like, "Okay, that." You know, and then I'm like, you know what? But I was the one that recognized how I was feeling, but you recognized it also too, and you brought it to the forefront.
I just brought it up.
Yeah, but I love the fact you did that because it was really hard. But also too, I'm like, it's not that hard because I've got to be better about that. If I'm going to go to the next level, I have to be better.
Like,
be like
a fun little project like what we were doing isn't any big deal, right?
No,
like,
but it is.
It also is helping you develop those skills by someone bringing to
flexing
the
those
table.
muscles. Yeah, I'm like doing reps with you.
Yeah,
I'm doing reps with everybody else.
Yeah.
I mean, even though I want to help and say if I made it bigger and stuff like that, my graduates stuff like, hey, come on to this set or whatever.
Right.
It's reps that I still have to utilize mentally because people are going to be saying some crazy wild shit.
Oh yeah, and then the moment you get into a level that other people are not and they don't understand it, that's when like a lot more things are said.
No, like listen, I mean, I don't know who's going to see this or not, and I'm not going to say any names, but I have some really good friends that are out there that if something did happen, they're going to make me feel more bad, worse about myself because they think that I need to be reaching out when I just got to wherever I got to, like maybe it's an agent or something like that, agent and manager, which is a possibility for me now in Los Angeles. And I won't say who it's with, but there's a chance for me to do that. And if that happens and I don't talk about that, talk about with you and stuff like that, but people that I'm surrounded with, and then I get a movie or something like that, they buy a script or whatever, everyone's like, hey, what about me, man? I'm like, man, this isn't about you at this moment.
Well, and just because you get that doesn't mean they deserved it. Well, you know what I mean? Like, I hate to be mean, but that's the truth.
That's true.
You don't owe them. Yeah. And it could be just you got lucky and somebody brought you on, but it doesn't mean that you have the right to bring other people.
No, that's exactly it. And I don't do that to my other friends. Like, for instance, my buddy Mike Schwartz called it day. He directed The Peanut Butter Falcon. And with Shia LaBeouf, John Bernthal, people know they know Punisher, and they know Shia from Transformers or whatever else. He's brilliant. It's a great movie. It's about this kid who has disability, and he might have Down syndrome or something like that, but he wants to be a wrestler. And he's in the South, and he is put in an old folks' home because they don't know what to do with him. So the old people break him out, and now he's on his own journey, and then Shia runs into him, and then this whole thing happens. It's like kind of like a Mark Twain story. It's an awesome, awesome movie. They did really well. But Mike, he hit me up today and said, hey, man, we got The Rock. The Rock loves one of his films. And Chris Hemsworth on another movie, Chris Hemsworth and somebody else, two really big actors, are like smitten with him. And Mike has a amazing agent at ICM, which is one of the largest agencies in LA. But do I feel some type of way about it? Do I come for Mike? I just ask, hey, could you read this for me? What do you think about it? But by no means do I ever feel bad or mean that Mike has gotten something that I have not. I just feel like, Mike, deserving or not, that's not my position. That's not how my life is supposed to go.
In one way, shape, or form, whether he got it with a connection or he got it out of his work or whatever it might be that got him in that place, he did the work to get there.
He did.
Regardless of how he got there. He did the work to get there.
And I can't go out with a handout like, hey, man, look at me. I mean, he's talked with Michael B. Jordan several times. He even wrote a script for Michael B. Jordan. Like, he knows people. He's at Margot Robbie's. I called one time, and he's like, hey, what's up? And he's like, I'm at Max's house. I'm like, who's that? It's like, Margot Robbie. I'm like, oh, so I'll let you go. But he talked for him a little bit and stuff like that and got off the phone. But, like, that's taking me a lot to get my head around, too, as well. Because, like, if you have friends that are where you want to be, you start to look at your life like, well, why not me? And as opposed to saying, well, my journey is just going to be completely different, and that's okay. So I've learned a lot, being, half a century and some change, being here in this
He's always dropping his age.
I mean, because it's just, like, I'm going to go backwards a little bit. So I go backwards to Presidio, like 1970 something.
All right, let's start as your beginning.
Yes. So
okay.
As a beginning, I grew up in a military-based family. My dad was a captain, and we lived in Presidio. But before that, we had moved to Germany when I was like 2. And when I went to Germany, we got back to...
Did you live on base there?
Yes. Yeah. My dad was stationed in Germany. My mom was there, but my mom had previously been there too. My dad was 10 years older than my mom. My mom was 18. She was 20, I think 1 or 20 when she had me. So we were around. So they had been dating and stuff like that. But she went to high school in Germany.
Oh.
Yeah, so she's like, I like them German boys. She's like, you're lucky. Your name could have been, Klaus or something like that. I'm like, oh, wow, it's crazy. So, yeah, mom's was out there before my dad actually got there, but they kind of knew each other. My dad knew my mom when she was 7 because my dad actually their parents owned an apartment building in St. Louis, East St. Louis.
Okay.
So they actually had money. It was really
that
wild.
Where they're originally from?
Yeah, they're from Missouri, like that kind of like,
okay.
Yeah. So, but anyway, I digress. I was born in 71. Lived in Detroit for a little while, then moved immediately somewhere 6 months after that to Germany. I think it was Frankfurt. And then we came back in like 73 and lived there from 73 to 79 in Presidio. And if people don't know, San Francisco, Presidio, California, it's right there. It's SSF basically, right near the Alcatraz, Golden Gate right there. And I lived there.
It's right over there in that
It's
area?
right. It's right there.
I've actually been there.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
That's dope.
And we did our little Northern California trip. We went through.
That's awesome. Did you guys walk across the Golden Gate?
We didn't walk across it, no, but we went down to that little.
Yeah, where you can see the bridge.
And then
that's Presidio.
Yeah,
you're Presidio. That's
okay.
where. Yeah, that's where you live.
That. It was a really nice area. There was a place that we got some dumplings that were amazing.
Yes, and they've got the rock climbing place and there's little art things you can see all around. That's where I was. The whole bay. I mean, it's beautiful. Presidio is so wonderful, and ended up being George Lucas bought it Disney owns it now because when Lucas sold Star Wars and everything, he sold even that property too as well because he owned Presidio because he bought it for like I don't know 500 million or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he hit a lot because he was. I think Lucas is probably worth like closer ends of like $2 billion or something like that because with all the stuff that he got. I mean, he sold it to Disney for like $4 or $5 billion. Like, but that's everything. All the Star Wars rights and everything that he has, and Presidio included. So, but yeah, it was pretty neat to be back there. I saw Star Wars in 1977 on base. My dad was a huge film guy, even though he was not an art guy at all. He's more of an engineer. He was a captain at the time, and just he kind of got me into movies. I remember at a young age, I remember seeing, they were playing Taxi Driver, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. Love Scorsese, and he was playing that. And I remember the little kid's like, "You talking to me? I'm over here, make your move." And my mom's like, "Do it, baby, do it, baby." Like, I'm over here, make saying all the bad words, kind of, they're cracking up. But yeah, I mean, my dad had a love for film, and he was always that guy. He always loved technology, and he always loved movies. My mom loves horror films and stuff like that. So I think a part of, even what's really wild is that, I kind of disliked my dad for a little bit because he was very, very tough and wanted me to be an engineer. But he was the one that kind of instilled that, he was like, "Hey, we're going to a movie today." And I'm like, I'm little, like 6 years old, and we go to Star Wars, and I'm like, my eyes just, Bruce Lee movies at that time in the 70s with Chuck Norris, Game of Death, and all of the movies, and Enter the Dragon. It was neat. I mean, just really neat to my dad kind of instilled some of that stuff inside of me, and I just loved cinema. And then from there, my dad was just buying like little toys. Like I remember we were in '79, we were the first people on the block to have a VCR. And my dad bought a camera to go with this thing too as well. So I was kind of movie making, had my brother do weird stuff. Like, go over here and do that and do stop animation. I was doing all kinds of stuff, but I always had a camera in my hand, kind of like since I was like 9 or 10 years old. I was always messing around and putting two VCRs together and editing my own stuff.
Which is not normal for like your age group.
No, it's not.
It's not.
No. And actually also too, just being, African American, just being black. I mean, like, my dad was like, we were always in the upper crust because we had money. My dad was, my dad ended up being a full-blood colonel and stuff like that. But like, yeah, he was, just really into cinema, and we were upper crust. So I didn't, when people come to our houses, we always had all the food and cool cars. And so my dad had a Corvette, BMWs, and people like, "Hi, you guys are rich." And I was like, "Yeah, we are rich." My dad's all, "No, I got money." Now, another thing I want to do, tell everybody here is that I'm a living miracle. Like literally, when I was 10 or 11, my dad, might have been 5 foot or 4'11" or something like that. My dad's all, "You're not going to grow anymore." Because my mom was 5'3", my dad's 5'2".
Oh.
And I'm 5'9". So, I mean, I know that that's not tall, but for me, that's huge.
For your family, you're like...
My dad's 5'2". I mean, how tall are you? I mean, like, you would...
I'm 5'6". That's
what I'm saying. You're like towering, but hey, what's up? Cummings? Like, you know what I mean? Like, my dad was short, so my mom was too. My dad, everyone was short in my family because I've part of some Chinese blood in my, like an eighth Chinese. My great grandfather was Chinese, full-blooded Chinese. So that was a weird, thing too as well. If you saw my dad was living.
That's some strong genes.
I'm telling you right now. It's like, if you saw my dad, you go, oh, like, so my dad had, these vegetables. My dad passed when he was 66 because he was exposed to Agent Orange in Vietnam. So he passed away very early. But he'd be like 80 now. It's been about 20.
How old was he when he passed?
66, yeah.
66. Okay.
So it's like 30 something or something like that,
Yeah.
Maybe 33 or something like that or whatever. But yeah, it was crazy that he was so young. I mean, like, I feel like it's young, and I had a lot of time with him. I mean, I did have time, but like, there's never enough time when someone passes.
It doesn't even matter.
Yeah. And he wasn't very nice, but I at the end of it, we had a really good relationship,
When you say not very nice, though, was it just because he was military? He was very
I think when you grew up as a Gen X, Gen X was abused, like, just blatantly, just like on television, like the Richard Dawson, like, or before that, there was a show that I remember watching on TV, and there's this guy, he was like a Richard Dawson, that was like Family Feud. And he would ask these little girls for a kiss. And he's like, "Oh, you have really pretty eyes." And he'd get close, and he would kiss them on the lips. And they're like 12 or 11. And and people were cracking up. I mean, this is what Gen Xers, we dealt with open stuff, which was okay to do weird stuff like that. So not only did we have this keys and didn't have a lot of parents around at the time, that's why people call us one of the strongest generations, because we didn't have computers. We didn't have a lot of the things that people have and that grew up with. We're a very analog society, but we suffered, not in silence, we suffered just right there on TV. Women did, as even grown-ups would. It was just weird stuff, just funky stuff. So my dad was mean in a couple of ways. One, I think he was very abusive. Like he had a lot of PTSD from Vietnam, and he took that out on my mom and myself. My brother wouldn't know that because he was just, he wasn't born first, until 75, and there's a lot of stuff that happened between those 4 years.
Yeah.
Just a lot of eyes on my mom.
Well,
and myself.
especially if he's messed up from the being in battle. Basically.
Yeah, I mean, he seemed okay, but he had a lot of rage, and if you don't have that, now, as much as we like to say if they do or don't, veterans still do need help. But back then,
they still need help, but they didn't offer help like they do.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
it's different.
Way different.
There is help out there. It's just whether or not people will seek it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then back then there wasn't.
There wasn't any hotlines.
I don't even know if it was really even addressed as.
It was not
anything.
Yeah, it was just buck up. You went to war. Sorry,
tough it up.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, or
going.
not even thank you. I remember my dad telling me when he came out back in I think 69. I think he did 2 tours. He came back. Somebody spit on him. And that was just before I was born and stuff like that. But it was he came off the plane. It was someone spit on my dad. I mean, I wasn't alive yet, but that was just really weird. I mean, the Vietnam War was a very, very weird war. It wasn't like Desert Storm where we were kicking ass, stuff like that or whatever. It was just a weird place to prove people were going against the war and stuff like that. And I find that kind of, I know that there's opinions about that, but for me, when people's kids, I mean, you have an option to be and say and have an opinion, but if it's not your kids and you're not fighting this war, you still need to have, you still need to be American. If you're living in America, it's not like you're for it, but please don't go against, there's kids out there that are 18, 17, 18, 19, 20 that are fighting for our country, and I'm a big proponent of that. My dad was probably one of the only, Black Republicans that I knew of too as well back in the day. My dad was crazy. He would say some crazy stuff, which I love too as well. My dad was very much into politics too as well.
I mean, typically,
the
people that are a little more well off
usually
are more Republican.
Yeah, he was very boisterous about his opinions and stuff like that.
The sides were a little different than they are.
Yeah, things. Yes, absolutely. And I think that what we stand for, just entirely whatever you stand for is your own opinion. But he did not back down.
Yeah,
that's what I love about him. He always had an opinion, So
at least if he taught you something, right?
Absolutely.
That is a heck of a skill to learn.
Yeah, absolutely. My dad was very, wasn't good with people because he turned people off. My mom was a buffer for that. My mom is absolutely phenomenal with people, with relationships. I learned so much from her about how to carry myself because I've had every job. Let's talk about from 79 to whatever. We moved to North Bay, so Northern California was interesting because I had so many awesome friends that I have till to this day. Like just recently, last night, I was with a friend that I had met in 1979. I was best man in his wedding. His whole family was out. I've watched his mom being young to now she's 82 years old. It is just wild to me to see that kind of.
I'm sorry, my dog's hacking. Are you done yet, Nala?
Okay, so I think he's good. So yeah, it's just wild to see the process of age, how it catches us, and it's just it's beautiful. I've been thinking about that a lot lately. I don't know why, because I feel like there's things that I want to do. I'm fine with passing, but I'm not fine with passing now. I'm too close to getting to the place where I thought I couldn't. And all the things that I've done, and we're going to lead into my Christian schooling and stuff like that. Oh my gosh. I had to go to Christian school from 3rd grade to 7th grade. So literally I never even really saw girls because girls were always dressed up. The best thing I've ever seen in my entire life. And imagine this, it's 1981. Rock, Def Leppard, Motley Crue, all these hair bands. And I'm locked in this. We didn't listen because you couldn't listen to music. Because if you're doing anything, Michael Jackson come out and you do your thing Lee, you can't dance. I'm like, well, I'm backsliding. Like, you're going to backslide for Jesus. What's so bad about dancing? Can I rejoice for the Lord right now?
It's not the whole premise of Footloose. You can't
that's exactly it. And knowing, I'm glad you brought that up. I'm gonna let you a little tidbit. If you didn't know this, back at I think it was 1980.
I just like to before you dive in.
Yeah.
I'm proud of myself for that because that was a movie reference that I'm not very good at giving movie references.
And that was dope.
You know that.
I know. That was awesome.
I've actually never even seen the movie.
Oh my gosh, you have to. And so there were 3 movies at the time back in the day for films, and this is like kind of film little, I don't know, just nuance or whatever. But back in the day, when that movie came out in 1986 or 87, probably 85. I think the movie came out in 85 or 86. All the movies, 3 movies with F's that were all about dancing: Footloose, Fame, and Flashdance. They all 3 came out.
I've never heard of the other 2.
You haven't?
Mm-mm.
Oh my gosh, they're so big. You have to see them. So they all came at the same exact time, and people are like, well, how's that possible? Because every studio knows what other studios are going to be producing. They're like, hey, if they have a dance movie, we want a dance movie. What are they calling it? I heard they're calling it Footloose. So Fame comes out. It's about they're different movies, and then the other one you mentioned, Footloose or whatever. So Footloose, Fame, and Flashdance. All about dancing, all F's, and they don't. Hollywood doesn't do too much as far as like thinking outside the box sometimes.
A lot of it's just other people's ideas.
Yeah, and then they kind of piggyback, onto like, oh, you got a Superman? We have Century.
We're gonna make it better.
Yeah, and we've got this, you got that. So
Yeah.
it's like, we have Batman in DC. We have Iron Man. Oh, what's his difference? There's no difference. One's a billionaire and the other one's a billionaire. So so they both have suits. They both have trinkets.
Same concept, different character.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So, being in Santa Rosa was interesting, and being in the Christian school was great because from 3rd to 7th grade, never even saw girls, and then 8th grade, my mom's like, we're tired because they paid for me to go to private school. Like, you're done with private school. Do you want to go to public school? I'm like, yeah. And then you see acid wash jeans. Girls have tight jeans on. I'm like, what? And me and my buddy, one of my best friends, Shay Daniels. I remember his first day of school, we got dropped off, and these girls showed up with acid wash jeans, and they were like, the guests and tight and this and that. I looked at him. We just looked. It was a movie. We just looked at like. It was crazy. It was
How old were you?
I was like 13 or something.
Oh, you were in the prime,
raging. Yeah.
like...
Oh yeah, raging hormones. I'm like, because we never saw stuff like this before. It was like, although there were 2 girls that were like, it was really weird. The 2 girls were like, when I was in 6th grade, or no, when I was going to 6th or 7th grade, these 2 girls, and I won't name their names, but they were like 2 grades ahead of us, and they let us kiss them like behind like, you guys want to kiss? I'm like, we're like, yeah. We're like 6th grade, and like we got to kiss like behind or whatever. In a Christian school, Christian stuff doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. It just means that I don't know what it means. It's just you're learning about Jesus and stuff like that. But the girls are crazy too as well. But it was more or less when you switch schools. If you're gonna do it in a movie, the flash thing would be us and seeing these girls, everyone walk around and be like, the hell freezes over, dude.
I feel like it's such a difference because like you have like the uniforms, right? And then so everything looks pretty
baggy,
pretty much
baggy.
The same too. Mm-hmm. Like no girl looks different. Mm-hmm. And then you go somewhere like a public school where everyone looks different and they have their own unique personalities that come out and what they're wearing and what they do and what they're into.
Girls had black hair with a blonde streak, and their hair was feathered back. It was the 80s. It was the epitome of the 80s. You listen to Foreigner and people are walking around with, these music and stuff, like everything's analog. I can't, if I could give anything to anybody or millennials or anybody that's younger than myself, would be like, my wish would be like, I wish you could just go to junior. Because whatever you see, whatever movie you see in Fast Time to Richmond High, whatever movie you see in the 80s, or in any movie, like, any 80s movie, people being dumped in trash cans, being locked in lockers, it is all true. I kid you not. Whatever you think you see in a movie, it's even worse. Like the clicks and stuff like that, the wavers and the rockers and like it is wow. I remember this guy, he had his face looked like the guy from one of my favorite films was it John Hughes? I think Weird Science. There's this guy has half a burned face. That half a burned face, and people, if they see this that know me, they'll like Robert Liggett. That was the guy. He had a half burned face. I remember I was in class 8th grade doing some math problems and talking to Miss Aoki, and I turn around. There's this large window behind us. This guy is the rocker guys with parachute pants are disappearing out the window, and Miss Aoki, this little Asian lady, is not even seeing them, and I don't say anything because you don't need. So I'm like, don't you say anything, Cummings? We know you're a brown noser. That was like brown noser and ooh, dude, facial scrub. They're disappearing. It was a wildest stuff. I just want to. So I know I'm digressing, but the story is, if you want to know what the 80s were like, just watch any movie in the 80s, and that is not the old ones like with, because they don't have the language. Like someone like who did what's his name? Not Ben Stiller, but Adam Sandler. He's done some 80s movies, but they're not the same.
Yeah.
Just watch the ones that were actually made in 1980, and you'll see like, oh, hey, this is real stuff.
So, which clique were you in?
I was in the breaker. I was a break dancer. As soon as I could break my ass off. I mean, I was popping and stuff like that. I was doing all kind of, I was dancing and doing my little thing. It was nice. Yeah.
You still do it?
No. Break my damn back. Because the contortions of things, they called me Kid Swipe. So swiping was, you do this thing where you flip and your legs follow along like this. It was awesome. You twist and your hands would hit, but then your feet would come over, and I could do a 1-foot swipe too as well. It was.
So did you learn this switching schools, or did you learn this at home?
No, we started doing that in Christian school, but we hit ourselves, and they couldn't. At some point, they could say, we just got to let them do that because breaking was so big in the 1980s, like late 70s. I remember 80, even though we moved, I went to the pier. That's why I saw these people floating. And I was like, what is happening right now? I said, what is that? And, all of us started talking. We started doing it, and we started singing on TV. And then, all the movies, Beach Street came out, Breaking 1 and 2 came out. We were just, that was a big thing. We all were dancing. And literally we would roll around in Roanoke Park in Santa Rosa with linoleum, but the size of half the size of this. And someone would have it on their back. Like, you want to break? And you break down the linoleum down, you tape it down on the ground, you start break dance. It was
different life.
It really was.
Now we got all the TikTok
I know.
Stupid
Which
dances.
Some of the dances are pretty cool, but you're right. There's
some of them are, but some of them are not.
I know, exactly. The trends are wild on TikTok. If my dad was alive, I just wish he was alive just to see the internet. I mean, he saw the internet, but to see it the way it is, I'm just like, I look at it and go, the internet. I saw a woman with nice breasts, but because she had a fake baby, you can see her breasts, and she's showing her breast. I'm in my FYP page because I have all these. We'll talk about my graduates, my all of my graduates from my film school and stuff like that. They messed my FYP page up, and the fact that I even know what an FY for your page is, it's completely messed up. I can't even say what it's about because it's messed up because those guys send me stuff, and as soon as you look at something or talk about something, it changes it, man.
Well, and guys with their social media, it automatically gives you those things no matter what. No matter what. Justin,
they have it too.
So he gets them, and he literally hits "Don't show me this again" or whatever it is that you put on there, and they still come back.
Oh yeah, it comes back
all the time.
It doesn't matter what it is. It is. I've seen the fact that I'm in, and there's a lot of funny stuff on there too. Well, because I know that you love comedy too. So, by the way, are you going to see Mike Epps coming? There's this big show happening. We had to talk about it later.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about it because I don't know.
Yeah, because they're doing a big huge show, whatever, with Mike and stuff like that. And one of the guys I went to
Where
college
at?
Here in Vegas.
Where?
Oh, I don't know. I'll look it up and I'll tell you.
Okay.
But I think we should all go.
I'm down.
It'd be fun.
Yeah.
And I think I might be able to get backstage tickets because my guy I went to college with, Niles Kirchner, he is Mike Epps' manager, or whatever.
Do you know Trevor Wallace is?
What?
We just seen him last night at Wise Guys.
With the guy with the English accent or whatever, right?
No, he doesn't have an accent. He does a lot of stupid videos. He's done the monster videos.
Oh, really?
Bang.
Okay.
Just a bunch of. I'll have to send you his page.
Please.
He's pretty funny, but we just seen him last night. It was good.
Yeah, that's dope. No, I love comedy. But I just as I progress through the years, and I don't want people to get bored because I don't know, I could have a lot of stuff. But anyway, there's a lot of things that happen said between the. But between 7th and maybe 9th grade was junior high for me. Because they call it junior high. So 7th, 8th, and 9th grade was junior high, and we didn't have a freshman. Even though freshman 9th to 12th grade is high school. And the way they did it in Santa Rosa is you go 7th to 9th grade, and then you're basically your 10th
Instead
grade.
of 6 to 7.
Well, no, you do 6 to 8. Yeah, exactly. 6 to 8. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so
which
they do.
Is pretty standard.
So 6th grade is its own school. Then you go to 7th, 8th, and 9th grade, and then you go to high school. So between that time was pretty cool. So I got a chance to my high school. In the 80s, the late 80s was pretty crazy because I had a friend, he wrote Tupac's Trapped. Raymond Tyson, Ray Love, or whatever. Shout out to Ray Love. Pac was around Santa Rosa and Marin City. So I saw Digital Underground and Pac. And we all did that, lived in Santa Rosa at that time. And I think I even saw Jada, they were hanging out. But I know my friend Stephanie St. James she was the girlfriend to Ray Love, who wrote Trapped for Tupac. That was his first single that went triple platinum, whatever. So Pac, I saw him get beat out by, Fijian guys and, Hawaiian dudes because he was always talking shit all the time. It was crazy. So, but it was neat. It was the epitome of kind of hip hop. And from there, kind of spawned a lot of stuff. And then my other friend, his cousin was Mac Dre. And he would try to get me to pick up Mac Dre, but I wouldn't. But my other buddy did. Mac Dre's a big rapper in the Bay and stuff like that. So, but yeah, I mean, hip hop was a big part of that, of the 90s hip hop that happened in the late 80s. And then I went to UC Davis from there and kind of still was studying film and I was an engineer for like 3 years. And I also switched that later to theater major and stuff like that, and art minor and all that kind of stuff, and minor in Spanish too as well. So yeah, it was a lot of stuff there. But yeah, I think the biggest thing that in part of my life, and as I'm kind of time jumping a little bit, the biggest thing that happened after I was a teacher for 5 years at probably the most prestigious school in America. It was like $35,000 a year to be a student there, and it went from K to 8th grade.
Well, that's probably a lot more now.
Oh, right? It is. So everyone's people. I taught John Lasseter's kids. I taught 3 of his kids, PJ, Ben, and Sam. John Lasseter sold Pixar to Disney for $800 million. So John and Nancy I knew really well. Their house was, I've seen a lot of people with a lot of money, but John was different because the things they had at their house, they had a 25,000 square foot home in Sonoma. They had a 200-acre train that's on there. And then they had this huge, gigantic pool that the guys from the Matterhorn, if you've ever been to Disneyland, they built his pool. It was like, I can't even begin to tell you what it looked like. The slides and stuff like that, and it was out of control. I mean, it was huge, and they had a lot of money. But the coolest thing that I've seen a lot of people with money, that Nancy told me, he said, Lee, sit on the bed real quick. So I sat on the bed, and a TV came up from nowhere, out of their bed. I don't know how that happened. They could watch TV, but that wasn't the cool part about it. First off, their house is huge. So what happens is that there's this foyer or these sliding glass doors where their beds, like if I'm laying down, and then back in front of them are these huge glass doors, like 10 times the size. I mean, like 20 feet glass doors.
Yeah.
The glass doors open out to an outside area that all gets shaded down with these like little screens. Mm-hmm. The screens come down automatically, and all these, so you're slowly screened in, and the bed pushes out there slowly as the doors open. The bed goes out there, and then the bed goes out, and the door's shut behind you, and you're left, and you're outside without really being outside.
You're like kind of chilling on the bed on the balcony almost.
Yeah, you're on the bed in the balcony, but no mosquitoes can come in because it all comes down with these. It was just the most beautiful.
I could tell how much it blew your mind just by the way you talked.
Because I've seen some stuff. I mean, a lot of people, like I had Joe Montana's kids. I know Joe and Jennifer. Montana. Like, Joe is, to me, the greatest quarterback of all time. I mean, I get it that Brady's dope and won a lot of rings, but Joe never lost. Joe went to the, Super Bowl 4 times. He won 4 times. And don't get me wrong, I love Brady. I think Brady's great. But Joe is, to me, the greatest of all time. So anyway, I had his kids.
You lost me when you
it said sports? Well, how about this? I had one kid, I'm like, hey, what's your name, Henry? He's like, yeah. And your name's Lipton? Okay. Yeah, my parents own Lipton iced tea and all that kind of stuff. Oh, okay, cool. But everybody's like that. Oh,
I feel like California and like probably where you're from,
yeah,
especially like
the wine country. Oh my God! And they all own wineries, and they're all sort of, what's your name? Paris. I said, Paris. Why does your mom look like the lady? Why do you guys always give me C's candy? That's my grandma. Mrs. C's is your grandma? I mean, it's crazy. So that's the type of money we're dealing with here. And
How long did you teach there?
5 years.
5 years.
Yeah, and that was in Sonoma. Well, that was in Santa Rosa, but Sonoma County is just in general, which is considered the wine country. So.
And that puts you probably, I mean, each year is a new group of kids, right?
Yeah, I initially came in as a PE teacher because my buddy got me a job there, Kenny Kane, and I think it was like 20. I saw one of my students, not even my youngest student, but one of my students is gonna be turning that I had in like the 6th grade is turning 39. Isn't that wild? I mean, Casey Ulrich. I mean, like, and he's not gonna see this, but like. He's going to turn 39. I was looking at my phone and I had these birthdays. I'm like, he's turning 39? That's wild. I mean, it's just, I had a crazy life. I coached girls varsity basketball. We're the only team to be undefeated in the state of California. We're 53-0. These white girls were out of control. Dope. Jamie Van Horn, shout out to her. Shout out to Cassidy Dados. Who else? I mean, there's all type of Aaron. All these girls, they rocked it. They killed it. Shout out to Sal. I coached with Sal Costanza. It was one of the coolest things to be a part of, coaching and beating these teams up. And you come in through these two, because we go to Oakland, and we had a bunch of white girls be like, oh, we're about to beat you. I'm like, you ain't beating us. Trust me. And Jamie Van Horn, I swear to you, beating us. Trust me. And Jamie Van Horn, I swear to you, she probably shot 53. I know that you don't know sports that well, but Curry shoots, and you probably know the name Curry. Curry's the greatest shooter of all time. He probably shoots 43% from the three-point line. Jamie Deadass shot 52% or 53% from the three-point line. She was out of, and everyone was smart. She went to Yale later on and stuff like that. So it was just a lot of.
So you did PE and coaching, and then you went into a different position?
Yeah, so I went to PE. So coaching was a side thing, but I went to PE. That's when I went to go, and I taught the little kids, and that was crazy because the little kids, I was like, well, how do I teach little kids? Because like, hey, Mr. Cummings. I'm like, okay, no one touched my whistle. Get in line. Okay, great. All eyes on me. Great. Carson, can you get back in line, please? Good. You're like a little petri dish. Where's the petri dish, Mr. Cummings? Don't touch my whistle. Carson, cover your mouth. And now I'm sick.
See, I always thought like the little kids are kind of fun though.
No.
I helped with like vacation Bible school when I was young. Mm-hmm. And I really enjoyed it. I got to do the outdoor activities. Mm-hmm. So like I got to like play football with the kids and like just little outdoor stuff. And like I always thought it was fun. I thought that's way more fun than like high school kids.
No, trust me. It's really beautiful. I had the most fun and the most love from those kids. I got sicker, and then I got the following year, I was super strong. I mean, I was strong too, I was super ripped. But my internal, because I got sick all the time, because the kids are just walking petri dishes. Right. They're like walking sickness, just waiting to happen. They touch your whistle. I'm like, what?
They lick things.
Oh, yeah. Carson, getting inside. Okay, great. Don't lick Paige, please. Thank you, Carson. Back in line. Yeah, it was a lot of fun teaching them because and they're truthful too. Hey, there's one kid named John Team. I remember being my first day teaching. The kids were walking, and this kid stopped, and the kids kept walking. John Team, come back. He came in. He's like, hi, my name's John Team. Hey, John Team. Which took his little hands, stuff like that. I'm like, I was like, who are you? I'm like, well, I'm Mr. Cummings. I'm gonna be your teacher. I'm gonna be a new teacher. Oh, you're the new teacher? Yeah. He walks back in. I'm like, well, get back in line, John. Nice meeting you. John Team literally walks back in line. Hey, everybody, we got a new teacher. His name's Mr. Cummings. He's bald and he's black. I love the truth and honesty. Kids,
they're the best.
They're the best.
They're the best. It was like around that, like 2 to 5 age, I would say.
Yes, he was like 6, like 7. Yeah. I mean, 2 to 7.
Maybe like 7. Yeah,
they're like super honest.
Probably first grade is like around the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was exactly it. He was like, he's blonde, he's black, and I'm like, I just had to laugh. I'm like, hey,
but it's true. It's not like they said anything wrong.
No, he notices things because this is a very a lot of Jewish people there. I knew Baruch Adonai. I could pray for bread at a yarmulke too as well. I went to 25 bar mitzvahs and bat mitzvahs then. So, and the Jewish culture was huge. And I learned a lot. I became friends with a lot of them, their dads, stuff like that, Judaism, stuff like that. So super awesome to learn more about religion, about what it meant to be Jewish and the culture and stuff like that. Because a lot of kids were Jewish at the time. So that was neat too as well, and understanding that. And I had a lot of, these Jewish men were very rich, and they told me a lot about how to build wealth and be successful and stuff like that. And it was really nice. I worked for a man his name was Michael Gerber. Before there was Anthony Robbins, there was Michael Gerber. Michael Gerber, if you've ever read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and I know that your husband has downstairs, if you look in the back of the book, underneath there, it says, if you want to know more about small business in America, read Michael Gerber's The E-Myth. That's who I was his son, basically. So I had brisket every Sunday night, from grandma, and I'm like, what makes someone Jewish? If your grandma's not Jewish, man, you ain't Jewish. Learning all the odds and ends, and don't come at me and stuff like that, because I'll spit fire too as well. I got friends that are Jewish too, so don't try to spit fire on me on this podcast, because I will come for you. Trust me. Oh no, sheka b'vakusha. Yeah, I'm speaking Hebrew. That means shut up, please. Thank you. So we'll go. So yeah,
you got a little crazy there.
Don't come for me, because people are like, oh, you're not Jewish. I'm like, dude, stop.
I love it when Lee gets worked up.
Yeah, because it's true. Because I live from a place of honesty, man. And I was with these people. They're my people too. Like they were so kind to me and taught me so much and did so much for me and my buddy Kenny Kane. So, but yeah, being a teacher taught me a lot. And I left only because another person. This gets to my film career. I taught after I started teaching 2 years of that, how I became a math teacher was I was really good at math. I did 3 years at UC Davis as an engineer, and I would come to class sometimes, and this Kelly, Kelly Gabe, yeah, Kelly Gabe's her. I don't want to say her old name, but Kelly Gabe's her maiden name. So Kelly was the badass teacher, and she taught all the math between 6th, 7th, 8th grade math, and she got pregnant, and it was a great pregnancy and stuff like that. It was purposeful, and I remember coming to the classroom all the time and answering questions, and then they had this thing called Mr. C's Challenge. She's like, Lee, do you know how to do math? I'm like, you don't know math, man. You just teach. I'm like, oh, you guys don't stop. Don't come at me like that. So she says, you know how to do this problem right here? And I did, finding the middle of a parabola or whatever, some easy stuff, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, finding the y-intercept, So I did the problem, stuff like that. She's like, wow. So, okay, we're going to do a thing. You guys don't have to take a test. We'll take a pre-test. And if you can't beat Lee, then you have to take the test. And then she did this whole thing. So kids were studying, stuff like that. But they didn't know how good I was. I was getting A's all the time. Like, you can't beat him. And then she started thinking. She looked at me one time. She brought the headmaster in. And he was like, I came into a classroom one time. It was all like this. And they were sitting down. Like, come on in, Lee. I'm like, I thought I was in trouble. I thought I did something wrong. And I sat down. I'm like, okay, yes. I'm like, so Kelly tells me that you've taken several tests and stuff like that. Oh, before they did that, they said, hey, how do you teach that to someone, Lee? And I'm like, oh, well, if you're doing that, you need to teach the y-intercept first. And if the kids don't know y equals y2 minus y1 over, x2 minus x1, they're not going to know how to do the problem. And they both looked at each other. Said, yeah, you're not going to be a PE teacher anymore. What do you mean? I got so scared. Like, you're going to be teaching math. I'm like, I don't know how to teach math. I mean, like, I don't know how to teach it. I know how to do it. But, like, teaching math is a skill. I'm like, I'm not Kelly. Like, yeah, and rich people don't like anything new. So they couldn't bring another outside teacher in when she was going to go on her sabbatical for her baby. Mm-hmm. So they're like, everyone knew me. Everyone loved me. And then when they mentioned the idea, when you're paying that much money at a school, they're like, because rich people do not, they like.
So how does that work, though? Like, don't you have to have a certain degree?
No. So as long as I had a degree, they were okay with that. I don't have a teacher credential. And at private schools, because it was a private school, you don't need a teacher credential.
Oh, okay. So that's different than, like, if you were at a public school.
Yes,
which is actually very interesting, right? Because now at a private school, they can hire anyone to teach?
They can. Typically, they want you to have a degree. But,
right, but they could just anyone they want, basically.
Yeah, anyone they want. But also, too, what's really bad about schools that are like those kind of schools that have a lot of affluency, a lot of money, what typically happens is that the parents run the curriculum. They say, well, this is what we want you to, because, you're kind of at the will of them, because when they're paying them their $40,000 per student, I mean, John Lasser had 4 kids there. Yeah. At one point. I mean, like, so when they're paying that much money, they get to, well, why don't, one parent was really mad, Pete Pratty was pissed at me one time because I taught pi at 3.14. And I know typically pi is a symbol or it is a endless number that goes on to infinity. Mm-hmm. I'm like, Pete, I told a little girl, someone that Pete, that -2 plus a -3 was -5, and she just about, her head exploded. So how can I teach an infinitesimal number that's not going to make any sense to a child?
Yeah.
So at this point, I'm like, 3.14 is pi. We get it.
Like, just so you can kind of understand.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. But these parents, this one, I had a parent come in, I have, if I did my winery like that, I'd be broke, and I can't just, I said, I know, Pete, but they can't. They thought, Mr. Cummings, you're lying. There's no way -3 plus -4 equals -7. I'm like, it does. Have a seat, please. Thank you.
The math is like, it's so basic when you're teaching it anyways, especially in like any of the K through 12.
Right.
It's all very basic unless they're like in a AP class or something.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, so it's like, why does it matter? It's not like they're learning business.
Because parents want to puff their chest out and show you what they have. And I'm like, I get it.
Then teach your children.
No, that's what I told them too. So that's what happened. I became this guy because I was the only, and so most of the parents were like, well, I would say 99% of the parents just absolutely, they were like, you can never leave this school. I said, why? Because my kid's in 5th grade and you're going to be her teacher. Do not leave. Please leave. I was going to leave one year. And parents were like, please, we'll make your life better. And they did. They made my life better. Parents gave me internships. This is how I met, Eric Blakeney. He came to my class, and I didn't know he was the head writer of 21 Jump Street and the executive producer. He founded Johnny Depp. And so, he was a big movie guy, and he did all the 80s stuff from, with Bruce Willis and Sybil Shepherd. There's a show called I forget what that show was called, but Moonlighting. So he did everything in the '80s, and he, after he's like, hey, would you like to? It was almost done. I was like, would you like to be living in Barcelona with me and kind of help my kids with math, but you'd have all the free time and I'd teach you, give you an informal education about how to write screenplays. And I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool.
That was kind of your in?
That was my in, but I worked for Michael Gerber for about 2 years. And that was a lot of fun. And I didn't talk about that, but working at E-Myth, I worked at the E-Myth for about 2 years. And then that's when Eric hit me up and Michael had bought a crap ton of equipment for me to run his E-Myth worldwide, which was a subsidiary company from E-Myth, which I was going to be videotaping all of Michael's stuff. Because during that time, Robert Kiyosaki and Tony Robbins, when it was Tony, before it became Anthony Robbins, or I don't know, I think was it Anthony first or Tony? I don't know. Anyway, Michael was that guy. He was doing all these shows about how to become better in business, stuff like that, running around with Robert Kiyosaki and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, I learned how to be kind of Michael in a sense, and learned a lot about business and how to run a sales team. But I was terrible. Michael was really nice to me. I became more of Michael's, like, picking up his son Sam, because Sam was one of my really good friend, and he was little. He's like in high school, but I was basically Sam's like tutor / and Sam was really smart. He didn't need me to tutor him or anything like that. But basically, Sam's kind of like babysitter. But I still worked and made money for E-Myth. But I was like, hey, Sam's getting out of school. Can you go pick him up? I'm like, okay, what do I do? Well, he's like, you take the rest of the day off. So it was out, and people kind of hated me for that. You're kind of
like a personal assistant.
That's what I was. Yeah. That's what I was. And Michael was very gracious to me and stuff like that. And his family with Eileen, and I just miss him so much. I haven't talked to Michael. I mean, I think he's got to be 85, 86, or 87 now. I think he's in Oregon or something like that. But Michael, if you're E-Myther out there, E-Myth, I was part of E-Myth. It was a lot of fun. I loved that place and I learned a lot about business, and I learned a lot about just the Jewish culture from Michael and Eileen, and Sam. It was really neat. And I think Sam, his son, now runs all of E-Myth now. That's out of Ashland or something like that in Oregon. The headquarters is now. But yeah, so from there, I left, and it wasn't fun for Michael, but he didn't like it. I think now he probably understands why I had to make that move, because, someone offered me an internship to work for him and to pay me, what I was kind of making with Michael, to go out there and to be in Spain. That was eye-opening. I lived in Barcelona, or should I say Barcelona, un año. So I lived there for a year, and that was eye-opening. I was about 30, 31. I think I was like 31 when I moved out there. And with Eric, I remember Eric picked me up, and Barcelona was so beautiful. And the women were very, very nice to me, because I was different than anything they'd ever seen before. And people don't, people who are from Spain, they're white girls, basically. They're not Latino or anything like that. But they're like, whatever you are, I like chocolate. Because there's nothing, nobody looked like me in Spain.
You were just so different, yeah.
Yeah, and they're like, excuse me, would you like to have café con leche para mí? I'm like, yeah, cafe milk? Yeah, let's go. So it was neat. And they had a different feel. They weren't American. There was like, give me this, give me that. I want the bag. I know there's new terms, but it was just more of like, hey, let's vibe. And if we can vibe on things, I like you, you like me. It was no pretense about anything. There wasn't like anything false about it. It was just truth. I met this girl, she's half Spanish and half Italian. Oh my God, she was so beautiful. And I fell in love like several thousand times when I was out there. But yeah, it was a lot of fun in Spain. And I wrote
How old were you when you were there?
31.
31. And
I wrote 2 scripts. I wrote a script called Clicks, and I wrote another script that's really, really good called The Wrecking Crew. And the Fairley brothers, they wanted this script. They wrote something about Mary. They wrote Kingpin. They also wrote 2 other movies there was a lot of good movies that are funny, really funny. Ben Stiller, have you ever seen those movies?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So
comedies.
Yeah, exactly. So something about Mary just changed everything. And me and a buddy of mine, Dmitry Yakushkin, one of my buddies, super American, but he's Russian. We wrote Wrecking Crew, and I know for a fact. So they wanted to buy it. Me and Dimitri said, "There's no way I can go to a theater," because what happens in movies is that if you see a screenplay by, or if you see a story by, and then a screenplay credit comes up, typically that person didn't have enough juice or enough fame in order to be the screenplay by credit. So I'm nobody. So the Fairley brothers wanted to buy this script called Wrecking Crew. And me and Dimitri said no. I said, there's no way I could see, because they were going to take the development money. They said, hey, we like the script. We want to buy it. I said, well, what do we get? Well, you don't get anything right now. The development money to develop our script was about $400,000. I'm like, you don't want to give us nothing, like 30 grand? And they don't want to budge. So they said, no, you don't get anything in development. Development what? I mean, I know that we wrote the screenplay probably like 6 or 7 times. We did 7 or 8 rewrites. And good writing, as Eric Blakeney would say, is rewriting. That's great. And it's tough. So we wrote a really good script. It was mainly before Kevin Hart was famous. It was for Ryan Reynolds and Kevin Hart. And they were not even famous at the time. This is like 14 years ago I wrote this script. And this is a script that I think now that I can really sell, I got to rewrite some things or whatever. But it's a really good, I have you read it. You'll like it. It's really funny. So it's about these 6 people who are been in and out of relationships. And if you were like really tired of relationships, like, you know, fuck relationships, I don't want to be in a relationship anymore, you know, and then you were part of our group, we were all friends and stuff like that. It's like, well, you know what? What happens is that the chef character who's played by Kevin Hart and the guy who just got dumped, the Ryan Reynolds guys, they're at, you know, since he's a chef, Ryan comes and Ryan's like, I'm pissed off at the world. You know, I just got dumped. He sees some liquor. He spikes the punch bowl. And then everyone's like, let's put our glasses up. And I've been clean and sober for over 7 years now, whatever. And everyone's like, here. So it's like an AA wedding or whatever. And now they spike the punch and everyone's going at it right now. The dad comes in to the Ryan Reynolds character and they're afraid they're going to get beat up. He gives them money. And they go, shit, maybe we can do this for a business. So we call you up. We have this big powwow about how we can mess up people's relationships. So if your dad isn't like Justin downstairs, he could pay the wrecking crew to somehow find something about him and mess up your relationship so you guys aren't together anymore. It is, I mean, beyond funny. So, I mean, right now, some of the things that are happening in the script it's impossible to do nowadays with the kind of woke that's happening in Hollywood. But I gotta see. I mean, Naked Gun's coming out with Liam Neeson. And so we're going to see how woke they are. So we're going to see the kind of jokes that they can do and get away with. Because you love comedy.
Well, yeah, I've noticed like a shift. So, like Netflix is taking on more comedian stuff, which is pushing it a little bit. So you're seeing a shift. I think they realize that they screwed up.
Yeah, it's really weird. I mean, like
people want that.
People that I'm dating myself, but if you ever saw Porky's in 1985.
I've seen that actually. That's what I have seen.
But, right? I mean, but think about that. Could you, if I said, hey, you know, I really like it as a comedy, let me change some things. You think I could do Porky's in this climate right now?
Oh, no.
I'm crucified. I'm done. Not like I want to do that, but like, you know, or if I want to do like a Russ Myers film, which is, I'm kind of dating, but Russ Myers is known for basically, you know, it's the 70s, you know, in the 70s, Russ Myers, you know Russ Myers film. If the women have big breasts and they're taking their tops off or whatever, you've got a Russ Myers film. And they're not bad films, but I'm saying you can't do the same. And not that I want to make movies like that, but what's funny is this, that, okay, I still have the OnlyFans stuff jumping off everywhere. I mean, like, so we're able to do that, but we can't make cinema? And women are winning. I mean, they're winning. I mean, Sophia Rain made $43 million last year.
You know,
on OnlyFans.
What I've noticed on Netflix, especially, that they'll expose genitals of a male, but they're like weird about like boobs now. Like you know what I mean? And I don't understand why.
I mean, we're normalizing like the newest fetish right now is that girls are putting this video thing on their faces, making themselves look like they have Down syndrome, walk around with big booties or something like that. And people like they're fetishizing this sort of Down syndrome thing. It's like it's crazy to me. And this is what's showing up. Like, why is this okay? So movies are bad, but kids are watching anyways, all IG and TikTok. So that's something that I have a bit of a problem with, which is if we're not going to censor things, let's not censor other things as well. And I'm not saying I want to do big movies with big boobs and stuff like that. Not that that's bad.
Well, the reason we have the ratings, right, on videos were so you knew,
right?
Okay, this is rated R. Don't bring a child to it.
Right.
Like
exactly.
You know what I mean? Like there was that was already there. It's not like we were just like, oh, here's some porn for children to watch.
Exactly. And we can't contain it anyway, regardless now. TikTok, no. I mean, now, like, regardless, if you're however old you need to be on TikTok, whatever, like, if you see, like, if you say, you know, women breastfeeding, you know, if your phone's around, I guarantee you're going to get that. And whose fault is this at the point? Is it our fault? Or is it the logarithm or whatever that's now listening to what we're saying and putting those things into place? So kids now are getting, you know, so it's legal to say, show someone with a breast, which I don't have a problem with a fake baby, put it to a boob and you can see everything. It doesn't matter.
Then that's okay.
That's what I'm saying. That's on IG. I mean, that's part of my FYP page, and I never said that per se. I must have been talking about it, and then that's showing up, fake baby, and the girl's looking at you. She knows what she's doing, and now it's like, go to my OnlyFans. And I'm like, man, I already saw everything anyway. I mean, it's crazy. So yeah, the internet has won. I mean, I don't know how.
Which it is what it is with that. But like the movie thing, I just don't understand. Like, why we have to. Some things are now okay that were never okay, which still probably shouldn't be okay.
Yeah.
But like the movie thing, I just don't understand. Like, why we have to. Some things are now okay that were never okay, which still probably shouldn't be okay. I still don't see where showing men's genitals should ever be okay, unless it's a porn, basically.
Right.
I mean, unless it's like something like that, I get. But like in an everyday average movie, you shouldn't see that.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah,
I don't like genitals of female or male.
Right.
Like, I don't think you should be showing that. Like, boobs are one thing. I feel like that's not so personal, I guess.
Absolutely. But the lower extremities, and they show more of, and men want to do it sometimes. I mean, if you watch, the second season of, was it Dragons? Not Game of Thrones, but there's the other one, House of Dragons. There's a scene in there where he's just like, he's ripped up, stuff like that, but he's showing everything. But that's still private TV, basically. So that's okay, I think, because HBO is it's a private, it feels like not like mainstream, whatever. But I know what you're talking about, more of mainstream also too as well. And that makes sense. Sometimes this doesn't make any sense. They're just doing it because they do it.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just some of it just doesn't make it, like a lot of it doesn't make sense. The way they went, things they got rid of.
Yeah.
I mean, when was the last time a new comedy came out that was actually good?
Ooh, good question.
Like
movie?
Like an actual movie, like good. I still watch old ones.
Me too.
Because I don't think anything new is like.
I don't know of anything. I mean, and I got to go back at least 10 years to like Old School or, something like that, or something about Mary, or some of these older versions.
At least
10, 15 years. Yeah, since a really good, funny movie. I mean, even the other ones with Kevin Hart or The Rock with or Ride Along. I mean, but I got to go back.
They're okay, but they're not Rush Hour.
No, they're not Rush Hour.
You know what I mean? Or
that is off the chain.
Or Adam Sandler's new movies are not his old movies.
But I would say this: Hubie Halloween is old school at Sandler. If you have,
yes, it is.
I love that. I mean, I go it's my new thing is, and maybe we should make it art. With us, we should watch on Christmas. I mean, not Christmas, but on Halloween, we need to watch it together because I love that movie.
Let's do like a screening.
Be dope. And part 2, we could do a screening. We could do a watch party while we're watching it and do this and watch it and talk. And
talk about
popcorn.
it.
Yeah. So Hubie. We'll watch both. The day before the new one comes out, we'll watch the first one, do that reaction, and then let's do another reaction.
I didn't even know there was a new one coming out. So
I did because Christmas came out. I was so pissed, because I thought, well, not Christmas. I thought this year it was going to be out, but no, it's the following year. So I rewatched.
So it's this year.
Yeah, so this year for sure, Hubie Halloween Part 2.
That's definitely his old school stuff.
And this year's going to be released is his newest film. He took 25 years or maybe 30 years to make. Is the the golfing one. Happy Gilmore 2.
Happy Gilmore,
yeah. So that's come out this year.
Which I'm so nervous because
I'm nervous too. I want it to be. I know. I'm like,
I want it to be like it was, but I know it's not going to be.
But you know what? With Hubie, he did some of the old stuff. I mean, him drinking and sipping.
But there's so many of them that he's had out that are just like dad movies.
I
know.
I mean, if they did a Waterboy 2, like maybe 20 years later, they can't. I know. I can't even mess around with that.
I would love for them to do it because I love that movie.
But that's what I would, if I got some fame as a director, I'd be like, I'm going to do something old school like that. Great.
Push the limit.
Push the limit.
I'm telling you, it's going to make all the difference. People have turned around.
I think so too. And that's what we have to do as filmmakers. And I think that is, we're floating a really weird line with what you can say. And I think Dave Chappelle says, screw it. I'm just going to, you try to cancel me.
There's a few comedians out there that,
Nikki,
we'll just say it.
You saw her, Nikki, what's her name?
Oh yeah, she's great. What is her last name? Nikki.
What is it?
No, I'm blanking.
I'm blanking too, but there's Whitney Cummings, you've seen.
She's kind of changed a little bit.
Yeah, because I think she had a baby
she
now.
A mom,
yeah, I know.
Kind of changed.
I know.
But, do you know Mark Norman?
No.
Oh, I'll send you his page.
He's
He's zero filter.
I love it.
Like zero. Will say it.
Yeah. But see, that's the thing. Comedy is the last place that they're not, and their pushback is great. Like, you guys, men and women that are comedians keep pushing that so that we as filmmakers can kind of push down a little bit, because they are saying, you know what? It's comedy.
Because they're setting the bar.
They are. They're setting the bar for us and helping us out. They're like, you know what? No.
If they're not getting canceled, then you know people want it.
That's exactly it. So people still do want that stuff, and it's okay. They're jokes.
I can tell you I want it.
Yeah, I want it too.
That's why I wanted to make this stupid sitcom that we're not going to finish.
Well, we're going to put it up. We're going to finish it, and you guys are going to get a chance to see it. And Fylisha is so funny in this thing. Everyone's very, very good. And that's all I'll say. We're going to put it out.
I've never even seen any of it. So.
Yeah, I know you've seen zero, and it's good, Fylisha. So. It really is good. Anyway, I digress. But yeah, so from Eric from Barcelona, I learned, some great things met some really great stars. I moved to LA after Spain. I thought we were going to be making a movie, and then that's where my life kind of took a turn. I got really afraid. I got really small. This is what we call messy.
Messy on purpose.
I know. I put 17 years of myself on hold because I was married. And although I, quote unquote, probably wasn't a good husband or whatever, I thought I was. But I'm saying, quote unquote, I thought I was great because if you ask, one of my stepkids, not my stepkids, I mean, he's my child basically, but Brennan, he's like 20 something, 23 years old, and God rest his brother. So Vance, I mean, we were just beautiful souls, man. Vance was like, I am so happy that I had a chance. So it wasn't for naught. I needed to be in their lives for whatever reason. The universe said, you know what? You've got to be in their lives, and you got to be their black dad. I always say to you, you look a lot like my ex-wife, because Carrie was crazy. And the shit you say, you guys, there's zero filter with Carrie. And that's what I love about you. I mean, like, 'cause you remind me of Carrie so much because she was like, tits, dick. I mean, she was just, Fylisha, she was wild. And I loved her for that, I mean, we were funny, and we were married for 17 years. And honestly, I felt like I put a lot of myself away. I felt I did. But I think when I did that, there wasn't like, not a pushback by any means, but we just, I don't know. There's a lot of places we struggled and stuff like that. And I think that was not her fault, more of mine. And that's what I had to deal with. I had to deal with, 50% of this relationship is mine. 50% of this fall of this relationship is mine too as well. I'm taking ownership of that, regardless if she does or not. But I definitely take ownership of the parts that I fell down that I left for her to pick up. And I wasn't a great husband that way, as far as that was concerned. But I learned a lot about myself in those 17 years being married and being divorced now for like 8 now.
So the in-between that, did you meet her in LA? Or did you...
No, I met her. So I went back. So yeah, it's great. Thank you for that segue. I got afraid when Eric and I moved back. Eric's like, you're going to have to get a job. I can't pay you this and that. And I should have stayed and just been a trainer because I had like, Jose Zaninga, who was in like Dark Tower with Matthew McConaughey. He had stars that were like, and I was ripped. I mean, people were like, I want to look like you, bro. And so at the time, I think I might have had my ISSA, certification, as well as my ACE certification. And I could have been their trainers, and I just didn't. And I got afraid and got small. And what did I do? Lee went back to his dumb little hometown of Santa Rosa. I was in LA, and people were asking for me to do stuff, and I didn't figure it out. I just got afraid. And by that, and I ran into her. I mean, the day I moved back, I remember I was going to Macy's, and my friend's girlfriend was from San Francisco, and she did all the mannequins in the lingerie department of Macy's and stuff like that. She said, hey, dude, meet me at, I said, where's Jamie's? Jamie's up here? He's like, no. And her name was, what was her name? I forget her name. Oh, I forget her name is. But anyway, she was up there, and my buddy, best friend, Jamie, his girlfriend was up there, and we met for lunch. And I saw her, and we'd known each other since junior high. Okay. She was 2 grades below me. So when I was in 9th grade, she was in 7th grade in Lincoln Valley. And she always had a crush on me, but I didn't know that. She'd really like me. And we never dated in high school, whatever. I always see her, crying because she was always in relationships all the time. And anyway, later on, I got, I have to go back a little bit. I did a commercial at her dad's winery because he's one of the 10th best winemakers in the world. Like, his first winery was bought by Robert Mondavi. If you don't know wine, most people know Robert Mondavi from Napa. His first wine was bought for like $45 million from Robert Mondavi. So she was a rich girl. And I remember doing a commercial, and my friends were like, dude, that hot girl keeps coming up to you, Mike. And I looked at her because I forgotten about her. She's like, hey, don't you know me? I'm like, well, I don't know you. And that worked to my benefit, because I was like, ooh, look at you. So I was like, I don't even know you. And she wrote her number, and I threw it away. And that was the best thing. I was like, no, she's too much. She's too much for me, man. There's no way I can get a girl like that. So I'm like, So I threw it away, and then I ran into her at a club. And then we kind of hit it off, and we kind of dated briefly for like 2 seconds, and then we weren't. And then I was a teacher, and I ran into her before I went to Spain, I remember a night we were doing something, and she was there with her husband, who I'm friends with, her ex-husband, the first ex, but it wasn't ex then, Jeff. And then I actually, I saw her there and stuff like that. And Jeff said, they got to go. And they took off. And then from there, every 2 years I saw her. And then 2 years after that, I thought that, she wasn't doing well in the relationship with her husband, stuff like that. She had been married for like 7 or 8 years or whatever. That's a 7-year itch. And then, we got together from there. And it wasn't a good get together. And I've apologized. I didn't know the full story. I don't know. But anyway, I apologized to her ex. We became friends and stuff like that, and I have a great friendship with him and his new wife, Erin Stammer. So anyway, but anyway, it's all weird, and I, had these kids who were 3 and 5, and I became a dad basically. And, all kinds of crazy things happened with them being bullied and, me stepping up to the bullies and stuff like that. And being, I'm just, don't play with me. Don't play with my kids because I will end your life. I remember Vance was being bullied in high school. I remember I said, who's bullying you? He's like, oh, this kid over here. And I'm like, that kid? I walked up to the kid and I rolled my window down and said, hey man, I'm gonna let you know right now. If you ever talk to my son ever again, I'm gonna beat you up. And whatever you do to my kid, I'm gonna do to you and your dad. And I got called by the sheriff's department because I played football with this Clint Schubel, and Clint was head of the sheriff's department or whatever. And he's like, Lee, you can't do that, my dude. If it was your son and my sons are friends, I said, Clint, you better tell him. And he called him up and said, hey man, I talked to the dad. And the dad said, everything's gonna be fine. And then but that's how crazy I was. If you talk shit to my son, I'm coming for you. So, but yeah, I mean, I learned a lot being in a relationship, and I took away a lot from that. And I'm sure she did too as well. It's just weird.
We all do in relationships.
Yeah.
Not even just like romantic relationships, just all friends. Like friends,
always.
families.
If you really want to be introspective and look
right.
about yourself, like what did I add or take away from this,
Yeah. Like even if things just kind of like, somebody moves away and then you just stop talking because that happens a lot. You know what I mean? Like, or whatever it might be. Like there's always something there to learn from.
Absolutely. No, I like a lot of what you're saying because I think there's no coincidences in life. And it's up to us as humans to look at our life and say, what did that, because we have to put some meaning behind that. I think everything we do, it's like, okay, I want to be a better filmmaker. Put meaning behind it. Get there, start studying, get scripts in front of your face, stuff like that. You want to be a good actor. Watch more movies. Want to be a better director. Watch more movies. Look at that stuff. Get dirty with it. Get messy.
When it comes down to it, you have to put action.
Absolutely.
That is the key.
Mm-hmm.
I think everyone can want everything in the world, right? Like you can want anything, but if you don't put any action to it, nobody's going to hand it to you. It just goes back to what we were talking about earlier about no one's going to hand you an opportunity. Everyone who gets that opportunity, it's not that they just got lucky. It's that they worked for it.
No, you're right. You're right.
Now, just because they worked for it to get to that point doesn't mean they're going to get any further if they don't continue the work.
That's exactly it. And I think I look at my life like that right now, which is I have to be in action and working, and I'm changing some things about myself that I don't like, but I'm going to disappear for the next couple of months, before potentially this meeting with these agents and stuff like that, putting together my reel and my director's reel, and not being small, because a lot of times you go, well, my work is not, big enough to showcase. But when you think about it, everybody starts somewhere. I mean, Michael Bay was shooting car commercials. I mean, like he has a lot. So what did he have? I see some people also do that. They don't even have short movies that they can point to that they've directed or whatever. I've seen, this other, I wasn't, I tried to get another agency out in New York, and this guy that I work for did a commercial. I said, hey, my friend's part of a big agency, she potentially could get, and it's really funny. I think I just had Starlight, but I didn't have really more of a reel, but I looked at their reels, and Fylisha, they weren't that good. I mean, like, meaning that because I do this consistently to myself, I'm grading myself, like, how am I versus everyone else? And this part of that is good, but part of it is doesn't help you. Because at the end of the day, you have to be mindful of yourself and what you mean to yourself. So I stopped kind of like grading myself towards everyone else, because if you do that, you might not ever get started.
Right. You can get like little feedbacks and like critiques.
Yes, absolutely.
When it comes down to it, like nothing's going to be perfect, and you just got to dive right in.
That's exactly it.
You are your own worst enemy if you stop yourself from starting.
So I'm not.
I started this
out of nothing.
I didn't even know how to use this thing. It was just like, let's just
turn it on.
I don't know.
And now you got microphones, everything like that. I mean, like you've got lights, and it's wonderful. And everybody starts somewhere, and before you know it, you just start to graduate your own self if you really like what you're doing, which you do. Because most people stop. They say, oh, I'm done.
Oh, I've heard that from a lot of people. Like, so we went to a networking event.
Yeah.
And I was talking to like this guy that actually has a platform to help, like, it's very similar to like a lot of the other ones, I guess. The platforms that you can post your podcast and then it'll go to other.
Right.
Yeah. And so I was talking to him and he was like, yeah, most people just like stop, but like the consistency is key. And like from day one, I said I would release something every single Monday, and I have killed myself to do that. And but I have released one every single Monday since I started this, and we started on Christmas. And
that's a long time.
So we're 23 episodes I've put out.
That's a lot of work too. It's a lot of work. Yeah, of course.
Because recording's one thing.
Well, so it's 23 to 56 or 52 weeks in a year. So yeah, that's wow. That's awesome. That's very impressive, because I know with my podcast, I have yours I haven't put out yet, but I never give myself that time. But what I'm trying to do is say, I just told myself, I just don't want to quit, because I know how easy it is just to stop. So I was like, I didn't give myself what you did, which I like how you do that. When you go hard in the yard, you're like, I'm going to do something, do it right. I just said, hey, I just want to be able to not stop, because I just, I've got one I'm supposed to be shooting on Saturday, and I don't want to stop it. She's supposed to be one of the actresses. I did a movie called Rochambeau. I'm not sure if you've seen it in the teaser for it or not.
I think so. Yeah.
The weird face. Yeah. So it's been really good. The process of seeing people, the graduates, and I'll move forward past everything else. I did a mentorship program, which is called the Real Fleet Academy, which if you want to learn about cameras and shutter speeds and how to shoot and how to be a director, please go to realfleet.com or look up Real Fleet Academy on.
Or just go find Lee's page.
Oh, yeah. Lee the movie director, all underscore between each word.
And then the link's right in his bio.
Oh, no, it's going to be on your thing. So, yeah, you'll find me. But it's not for, the universe is really funny and weird, because even though I'm not necessarily doing a Hollywood feature or a big movie that I directed called Starlight with some big people and stuff like that, this is the practicing and not stopping, saying, telling other kids that are ages between 19 and like 27, saying, hey, stop using money as your excuse, because I used to do it all the time. So Rochambeau is a movie about this old, I want to say French, I looked it up, I wrote more about it, but he's this old commander that actually started the Rochambeau. He's like French or whatever. So he actually started this thing, and the whole, based on the truth of the history of it, is that he can't stop. And once you play the game, you got to continue to play. But the only way to beat him is to not play. So I'm kind of giving some things out. But it's a cool little story about a short that, we stole shots. We went to Prim Mall and shot inside Prim Mall without asking. And we did some guerrilla stuff there. The lady came out and said, were you guys inside? I'm like, oh, well, yeah, kind of. Well, I didn't hear that. She let us shoot outside. She was very gracious. And we shot a movie with no money. Or short. So I'm trying to get these guys to look at their lives as, don't hinder yourself. Write scripts around places that you own, and you can make some good stuff. Don't say, I'm going to write an airport scene if you can't get inside the airport. But if you can, write it. Write it in there. So that's what we did with our stuff that we shot for Chaotic Rentals. It was exactly like that. And it looks really good. We had a friend that had this tinting shop and stuff like that. So it all kind of worked out. I really like how we did. We were finagling things, and
we were able to use like parking garages. And
stuff exactly. Like where we parked the cars. So and if we had the money, I'm going to still try to sell it if we can, at some point, and say, hey, would you guys give us money for this? Here's a pilot. Do you like it? There's more to it and stuff like that. Here's a second script that you had written. And you really got into writing too as well. You wrote that script pretty fast too as well.
Well, I'm just one of those people that like, oh, this needs to be done.
Which is great.
Which I got pretty good practice just like going through and redoing stuff on the first, because I did basically the rewrite in the first script.
Yeah, exactly.
Steven did the whole first script and then I did the rewrite.
Yeah, exactly. And
except for the one section I didn't mess with was that Merlin.
Oh, the Merlin, yeah.
The Merlin, because I didn't understand that.
Everybody wants to mess, not you, but other people want to mess with Merlin. Like, oh, I'm like, it's funny because
I was like, I don't understand it, so I'm not going to mess with it.
Yeah, and there's lore behind it. Arthur Pendragon and Merlin, and if you know about Merlin and all that kind of realm, which I do, I watch every episode of King Arthur or Mr. Arthur Pendragon. So it was great.
So I didn't touch that. Yeah. But
But yeah, from Pokemon to nerdy shit like that, I love. I collected cards. I played I was a pro Magic the Gathering player for a little bit during the time I played against Preston Poulter, and it might be dating myself or whatever, but I'm a nerd. I love anime.
You're a nerd.
Yeah, totally. I'm not embarrassed
I remind
about
him all the time.
I mean, yeah.
I'm like, you're nerding out on me over here. I don't know what you're talking about.
Totally, exactly. No, total nerd. But no, I mean, I just feel like the universe opens itself up to, if you're willing to listen to it and hear it, it will allow itself to seep in and give you lessons. And those lessons are, get, those are the reps you're doing to get those bigger biceps or to get your triceps to be split. Look at me, son. I got 3 heads split right here, man. Yeah, I've been doing the reps. So doing these short films with the students or helping, it's just giving me reps to think and to be more creative and to finish projects. And some took me almost a year. I mean, I don't know if Albert's ever going to see this, but Albert's been trying to call you to get, for Echo of Shadows. That was a year ago. And I look at how the students have grown immensely to the shots that we have in this new thing from Rochambeau. Man, it's night and day.
So backing up a little bit.
Okay.
So you left off with kind of the divorce and stuff. What led you to coming out after the divorce and then coming out here and then starting to teach out here?
Perfect. So when I was divorced, I was, it's 2 sides to every story, but basically I lived in my office because I didn't have anywhere to live. Not her fault, not anyone's fault but mine. I lived so I went to the 24-hour fitness. I had a gym membership there. That's where so I had a bathroom that was inside of my office, not in my office, except my office is maybe a little bit bigger than this. It was really nice. And I lived, Eric Christensen let me live. He has a place called Rotor Factory VFX, and he does all the Fast and the Furious, all the visuals. He worked for Lucas way back in the day, started his own professional VFX company, Rotor Factory VFX, and he let me live without telling his brother. But his brother loved me too as well. But him and his brother bought this dope-ass building. And so he can't tell my brother, but you can live here. So I lived inside the office, and he let me live there for $500 a month. Because I think $600 a month is what I paid. Something like that. So I lived inside my office. So I'd eat, have little, I was super overweight. I mean, very heavy. I was 227, 235. I'm 195 now. So I can show you a picture Lee, no. I was Mr. Pork guy. I mean, I was eating, and depressed too as well.
Well, that usually is what leads up to.
Exactly. And my friends checked. Shout out to, one of my really good friends, Gianni Mesmer, who he's this Italian, one of my Italian friends. He beat up everybody in junior high and high school. But, he just gave me, I remember him giving me $800 one day. And I just started crying. He's like, you don't pay this back, man. And I had help like that. My mom, and one of my besties, Maurice Travis, man. Maurice, without him, I wouldn't be here. He checked on me, came in, fed me, gave me love, gave me insight on myself about how I was growing, stuff like that. Allowed me to not be growing at the same exact time too as well. But I was just important to him. And everybody needs that support network. Mm-hmm. And Mo he wasn't my therapist, but he's a dope therapist. And you're meeting when he comes here, he does this thing where he does, he fasts ripped to shreds. When you guys see him, he's stupid ripped. And he's just got that consistency and just, he makes great money and stuff like that. But he's just a good fucking human, and he just allowed me to fall down, but was there going, okay, all right, get back up. Okay, cool. Awesome. What'd you do today? Getting me out of my funk, man. And he'll tell you, man,
some people just need to be almost shaken out of it sometimes. And you need that person. Yeah.
And he didn't, he did let me be me and stuff like that, but it's just.
But he wasn't going to let you just sit there.
No, he did not.
Yeah.
He did not. He was just an incredible person, man. I'm here. I mean, God, was in there too as well, but him, God led him to, us to be really great friends. He's like my brother, man. The guy is just,
he's what you needed.
Yeah. And a lot of people forgot about me. I'm not gonna hold it. I won't name any names stuff like that, but I needed more people to check on him, and they didn't. And that's okay, but it's just they didn't.
Well, that's the thing.
Everyone's
busy. Everyone has their own lives.
Yeah, and that's also too as well.
That's where we want people to do all of these things, but you also can't expect it. You're not even able to step up and be there for them at that time.
I know exactly.
You don't know what they're dealing with.
No, you don't. You don't. And that's what the old Lee was mad, and then the new Lee's there's out of love. Okay.
You're I get it.
2 sides of everything.
Yeah.
Why were you late? You're always late, and people be mad. You have no idea what people are going through. And that's where I want to talk about. Russell, was a mentee of mine, and now, I've mentored him for such a long time. He's done absolutely everything I've ever asked. He doesn't have breakdowns. He, only one time I think we were shooting something for
He's pretty level-headed. I've never seen him.
He doesn't let his emotions get beside him.
Yeah.
I mean, he even tells me sometimes, like, well, maybe they just had something else to do or X, Y, and Z, but you don't know what people are going through. I'm like, oh, great. His insight, when he's like my age, or even like, he's not even 25. I mean, like, by the time he's 30, he is going to be so just.
He's a hard worker, too.
He's
he's like stepped up and helped with things that I wanted to do. You know what I mean?
And he always never says no to any situation. And he's just so giving. But I think that's part of his side of him being, it's just not, not just Filipino, but just like, he's just a good person.
His mama did good.
Very, very good.
That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, very good. And he loves his mom. He's there. But I love that kid. Like, he's my own kid. Like, I mean, I don't have any kids, but that's one of my kids. I mean, Russell is one of mine. And everybody else.
I say that all the time.
I know. He's like, hey, your son's here. He's like, yeah, my black dad. I'm like, yeah, bro, trust me. Him
and Marley.
All of them. I mean, from Garrett. I mean, there's, out of 13 grads or 14 I've had, there are, a lot of my faves from, Garrett to Marley to Christiana, Ryan. I don't talk to Moses that much anymore. There's just a lot that I just love and adore. There's new ones, he's a bit high functioning, stuff like that, and Frankie, but him and his dad are just amazing people. And I'm glad that I said, you guys fell in the right place. Someone who's high functioning, stuff like that, but he's so gifted. I mean, like, bro, he's going to be good, as long as he gets out of his way. But I'm the luckiest fucking person on earth to be a teacher, to have that kind of calling, and to be a good, mentor. Mm-hmm. I wanted me. I'm being the person that I needed when I was younger. Because if I would have had me when and I have a little bit, Eric Blakeney is that guy for me now. I mean, Eric has gotten out of the way and helped me out so much, and helped me get this agent with Mark Valadez. Mark is head writer for a show called Queen of the South, which is a battle show that's on Netflix. You can see, and Mark isn't my mentor, Eric is, but they're friends, and stuff like that. I met Mark through Eric, and it's just, we've become friends over the years and stuff like that. And Mark loves me, and I love Eric and Mark. And they're in Hollywood. I'm in Vegas, and Vegas is becoming that, but still, it's not LA yet. But the agency, from
hopefully Hollywood dies.
I know it's yeah. So I don't know what's going to happen with it, but I think that there are a lot of good moves that are happening in Las Vegas for film and just in general. So I'm hoping that we can get some more things started, and I'm hoping the part that I want is that I'm close to some things, the bigger things in like Hollywood. If that happens, I can hire all these guys to do like backstories on me as a director, or do all the smaller things for Instagram for a movie. Like, say for instance, if I did like a Sinners, if I was lucky enough, Ryan Coogler he's him. Sinners is scary. It's good. If you haven't seen it, you should. It's an amazing film. Ryan Coogler did Black Panther, but I'm like, can Ryan Coogler really direct? Because you have about 300 people on set that are, doing visual effects. So how much directing is he doing? Fruitvale Station was good, and Creed was good, but it wasn't Sinners. He put his foot, like you do. Guys, you don't know. When she says he's bringing treats, you're lucky, because she can cook. She's her, okay? Bro, I'm talking, like, I'm having a little spread. I swear to God, everything would be like cookies and all kinds of, when she says she's bringing treats, or baking, or making food, or making some, I'll make you a chili. If she says she's making some shit, you better bring your ass here, because I swear to God, there's a lot, I feel like she's from the South, or she's like a black woman trapped in a white girl's body, because this girl can cook. And I looked at Justin, don't lose with him, bro. She's out of control, bro. He's like, I know. And I see Justin's face, so I love you for that. You always invite me, make me feel like family when I'm here. Christmas, you call me up. What are you doing for Thanksgiving? Stuff like that. I know we're going to have some good eats and good time. Last time I was here was such a great, and I don't feel like with Justin and you, if you know me, forget about it. We're just going to dive everywhere. But just to talk about this woman in front of me right now, it's just like messy on purpose. Like, you allow people, if they're cool people, because you don't invite everybody in your circle, but if you're cool and you're nice and you have a big heart and you feel like, you guys are my family, man. You and Justin have always made it apparent that I always have somewhere to go. And I don't have anywhere to go sometimes. I haven't been able to see my mom in over 2 years. She was out here 2 years ago. And, Christmas and Thanksgiving, I just can't, because my brother has been diagnosed with schizophrenia, and he says he doesn't have it, so he thinks I have a machine, so he wants to kill me and knife me and kill me. My mom can't even mention my name. He thinks I have a machine that I turn on. So he's damn near 50 years old now and doesn't have a job. I mean, we're talking about someone who is so talented, and my mom's not going to see this because she'd be like, don't be telling our business. But he has schizophrenia, and I'm praying every day that he turns. But he was in Jesus Christ Superstar. He played Jesus on an off-Broadway, the longest off-Broadway tour ever. That's how talented he is. He's an opera singer. If you look him up, I mean, if you look at part of the trilogy, what was it? The last, well, one of the close, was it last one in the, well, no, there's 4 Pirates of the Caribbean, but the third one, in the hanging scene, where everyone's getting hanged.
I've actually never seen it.
I'll have to show you before when we get off. But we'll pull it up on TV or pull up my phone, and my brother, they got a noose around his neck, and the little kid first looks up, they're going to hang him. They're hanging anyone who is affiliation to being a pirate. Right, because they're trying to find Johnny Depp. And the opening of the movie, and my brother put a thing around him, and he's actually on the singing, on the DVD, and on the trilogy or whatever, but he starts the song off, because he's a dope opera singer. Lo ho, da 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 da, and it starts, and everyone goes, lo ho. He starts the whole song. So if you see that, if you guys look it up, my brother's, I mean, his head is in the screen. So my brother's super talented. I mean, I say, if I say equate my directing talent versus my brother's talent as a singer, I thought I was talented. That's how talented he is. And I'll play some stuff for you and go, Lee, that's crazy. I'm like, yeah, it's crazy. But he hasn't held a job in the last probably 7 years.
Well, yeah, I mean, schizophrenia is...
And it's wild. And my mom is such a saint that allows the yelling happening upstairs.
Okay, so he lives with her?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm saying a lot of business out there, but it's messy.
And she probably can't really, leave him by himself, huh?
I mean, she has before. She did one time before, but I don't ever tell my mom, the old Lee, 7, 8 year olds, Mom, it's not fair and this and that. But you know what, Lee, calm down. Different. What is she going through right now? Is this really about you?
Her day to day is harder than...
I mean, she's not even telling me stuff. I know my mama. Yeah. She's not even telling me half the stuff. I remember she yelled up. I mean, she told me she killed me for telling the story. But it's funny. My brother has these arguments with people that he's playing and he's talking to. My mom's all, I don't know which one of you ends is Lawrence, but y'all got to go to bed. I swear to God, I cracked up. I mean, wow. And she's a Christian woman too. I mean, so
she's got to find light at it, and if that's how she's just finds a little bit of humor to
absolutely
deal with it.
And I don't know, I'm in a place, and before I went to beat him up, stuff like that, and come to the house. But guess what? That made me cry because I'm like, that's not loving, and he doesn't even know what he's doing. So I attack both of love. Mom, where do you need me? How do I help you out? The old Lee's making everything about him all the time. I'm like, and that's what I do. My ego is make it about me.
But that's your most people's first reaction to anything until you really work through and you're confident in who you are and how you think and know how to manage your emotions. You're going to be much more selfish in that.
That's why I mentioned that's where the selfish part of Lee was 8 years ago, and I think I probably could have used part of that in my relationship with her to set boundaries before we actually, did all what we did. But, understandably, I was a work in progress. We all are.
Yeah.
And I'm much better than I was before. And I'm so happy that I'm allowing myself to step back a little bit and going, what did you do? What did I do? So, yeah, it's been a fast, and thank you for people who have, been listening to the part of this or whatever, but it's been an absolute joy to watch myself grow up at 54.
So to circle back, because I know we jump around a lot.
I jumped around, not you, but you're very good.
So we're going to circle back just a little bit. So you moved here after the
so
divorce and everything.
So I was working for someone by the name of, I worked for a Christian, Dana Bryant had this, if you were on drugs, she had this private program that she would have a certain amount of people that lived, females lived in one home. They took your cell phones on. If you were able to get in this program or whatever, she had this program to getting you better and more healthy. And the way she puts it is that, and I'm not sure if she still believes this or not, but I still do believe it. I know she does. But being on a substance is a choice. And it's a selfish fucking choice. People are like, oh my God, I know it's a scratch. I mean, I'm not saying I know what it means. Oh, I do know what it means. I don't know what it means to have alcohol But I know what it means. I know what sugar's like. I got that scratch too as well. But it's a choice that I have to make. And I have to get upset at myself to say, I'm not today, Satan. I'm not eating that candy that I really want right now. It's a choice.
It is a choice because Justin has like that highly addictive personality where like he can get addicted to anything. I mean, those Diet Cokes, we've been buying like crazy for like a year now.
Right.
And like he's quit nicotine, he's quit those Zins, he's quit weed, he's quit, I mean, alcohol, which wasn't a big deal, but like he's quit all these things that people like struggle with, and so does he, like especially like the weed and like the nicotine, like that was really hard, but you can do it because he's living proof that you can. Because if I
absolutely
his stepmom, like her family is like as a high like that. If there's a top tier for addictive personalities, it's her family, and she quit drinking. Like, so it's possible.
And I'm not saying, please, I mean, I'm not saying that everything is black and white, as I might be able to making it out. It's not easy.
It's just possible.
That's what I'm trying to say.
That's what it comes to.
It's possible. So they, she ran this program. It could be meth, could be whatever. I saw a kid passed away. He was my student when I was a teacher. Do you see? I mean, you see the full circle around that, and then the program got disbanded as well, and that's when he killed himself or whatever. It was crazy, and so I was like, he's like, Lee. So what I did was, if the kids were good and they started to progress through the program, I started teaching people like that how to use a camera and how to be a filmmaker. And Dana hired me, so I was doing stuff for Dana to do, like she had these women programs that she would run, like she was running commercials and stuff like that. So I'd shoot all the commercials, same exact time. People who were in the program, her program, say, hey, Anthony's made it out this above here. He's allowed this time with you. So they would have something to look forward to. They want to do film. So I did that for 2 years with Dana. She was very gracious on allowing me to be in that space, have my little office and stuff like that, had a place to be. It was so great. I got in my office. I now had a kind of a job with her. I had like a small room that I rented from these really kind people that were so kind to me. And they were like, felt like my auntie and my uncle, so I was able to make food now. I was getting more in shape and stuff like that. I was, Fat Lee was disappearing. Ripley was coming about, and things were happening for me. So I just was so happy about that process from my office to even that 2-year period from 2018 to 2017 to 2000. And I directed a movie in between there too as well, but nothing happened in the movie. I'm like, what's that all about, God? What's that universe? But there's a place for that. And I think that now that couldn't even get an agent right now if I didn't have that feature behind me. So I thought oh my God, I made a movie. And I thought that was going to be it. Because it was a good movie. And then 2020 happened. It came out in 2020. You watching my movie for $12, you're going to watch Tenet or Justice League by Zack Snyder. Tenet is Christopher Nolan. No, you're not going. So for indie films at that time, for everything from the movie theater, because no one was going to movies during 2020. Because you couldn't go because of COVID. So I'm sitting around. I lost my job. Dana lost everything there too as well. She got shut down. We couldn't do all this stuff. Funding was short. I had no job, no nothing. But the money I was making, I put away for a crazy guy by the name of Elon Musk, and I invested in this company. And I'm not saying I'm smart as far as investing is concerned, but I invest in things always in things that I love. I love technology. So I said, this is great. I invested in Facebook at $25, and I invested at Tesla. It was really, really low. And then, I made a ton of money. I said, what am I going to do with this money? So I bought up. I said, I want to get out of it because we have a small town, about 250,000 people. Everybody knows me. Everybody knows Carrie. And me saying her name is wild too, because it's almost like Voldemort, he who shall go unnamed. That name has so much energy behind it because I was madly in love with her. So, I did that, made some money, and bought my condo here in Vegas, for next to nothing because California is so expensive to live in.
Hang on, just a second. I'm going to let her out because she keeps making noises. Come on.
Okay.
Come on.
She's like, I'm going to go.
That's what I wanted anyways. I'll just cut that out.
Okay, that's fine. How much are we going? I know I'm talking a lot.
We're good. I just might have to put it into two episodes. So
how long are we going? Let's see.
My camera's been.
Oh shit! I have to go in a little bit. I don't know how many because I have a movie at 7:30 with Russell. So.
Oh shoot! Okay.
No, I didn't. No, it's not your fault. It's my fault.
All right. Well, let's finish this up and then it'll be good.
All right.
So we'll wrap it up. Well, go ahead and do you want to dive into like how you went from, so you bought your condo?
So I bought my condo, and that was interesting living in Las Vegas. And I love Las Vegas. I am a Las Vegian now. I mean, I love it here much more than California. And I'm not hating on California too much, but the politics just, I don't sit well with me so much. And I feel like I'm back in America with being able to, own a firearm, having a CCW and stuff like that.
California, if you've been there long enough, I mean, I'm sure it feels like a third world country going somewhere else.
Yeah, it's really different for sure, and with all the vagabonds and bums and people running around. I mean, it's just expensive to be there. And
I just remember how excited you were when you got your firearm.
I mean, I was like, you're like, yeah, thanks for joining us, Lee. It's like, I carry all the time. Remember that picture thing that we did also too? I'm like, oh yeah, you were carrying then.
Yeah.
It was awesome. I was like, it was weird for me to even see you with it, but it was like, it's out and about. I mean, open carry is fine. I'm like, it was so cool to see and be a part of that too as well and learn more about that. But yeah, I mean, Vegas has been great. And so with that process, I wasn't doing any video work. Gino Payne and Mario Payne, I actually met with his brother, the two twins. I met with Mario about some video stuff. I was trying to do a movie and I was going to hire these guys. I said, if you guys need any help, let me know. And they were doing WSOP. And they're the ones, Mario said, yeah, I'll talk to my brother about you. And then Gino was ahead of that. And Gino gave me a tryout. And I was here, this older guy running around with a big ass cinema camera, and they let me do it. And I impressed them a little bit, and they kept hiring me over and over again. So now I do a lot of poker work here.
I was like, you're doing it again this year?
Yeah, me and Russell. Russell's going to make a crap ton of money. He was hired, and Russell did the work. He worked for free a lot for the WSOP and the WPT. I let him shoot we were doing a interview with Neil Patrick Harris from How I Met Your Mother. So that was really cool. So Russell's just been doing everything. He's God because he's God tier because he listens and he works hard. And he doesn't ask for money. And when, the old school kids like, well, am I going to be paid? No, you're not. You'd be like me. I work for Spike Lee. I mean, work for his casting directors. I wasn't paid. It was a free internship. I had to work my ass off.
So what got to, just because I know we're kind of on a time limit now. So as you got into that, obviously for like a job here.
Yes.
Right? So what led up to like building the real fleet? I know like I kind of like joined it on like a project when it was like in the beginning stages, but I don't really know what led up to it.
Before we were Fleet, I was teaching acting, and that's when I met you, and really quickly, and that's the first time I met you.
We won't mention that class.
Yeah, that's not when I mentioned it. Don't go to that class. I won't tell you it is. But anyway, met you at this teaching thing, met you and Shindell, and we became friends from there. I said, I think you'd be good for something, and then we started shooting stuff. But necessarily, me and Marlon were trying to do, I think we were going to try to do an acting school, and that seemed really good. The price points were really low. I mean, you can't charge a ton for acting because it's not fair to the people who are struggling actors. So I'm like, well, it needs to be a bigger price point. So we started Real Fleet Academy. So you should teach film. I'm like, that's interesting because I love to teach, and I would love to become a mentor and help people learn how to do that stuff. So I don't know how that really started from point of view, but Marlon was very great by getting the website and stuff like that. And I didn't necessarily know how to do all that stuff, but I knew how to teach and videotape stuff. So I don't know. It's just this jump between where Real Fleet is and where we are now, or where I was then. There's a process in between, but there was a lot of shooting and stuff like that, and then a lot of testing things out and failing in between there and shooting movies. And if you look at Sleepers, the movie we did compared to Rochambeau, the kids shot a lot of that stuff. Because Sleepers, I was by myself. Remember, it's just me. Remember the first night? It's just me and Marcelo, maybe me, Marcelo, and Moises. That was it. Now Rochambeau, I had 4 people in camera. And the only camera I had was just my camera. So I'm trying to shoot multiple angles. I could have shot you really quick. I mean, all that stuff could have been shot so much faster. But yeah, I'm so happy that we have a lot of people now because everyone's doing the projects, stuff like that. They're winning film festivals now. They're so articulate. They're doing such a great job. And I'm proud. That's the work that I put into these other younger humans, and I'm happy
and
about that.
It goes to show because, you have testimonials, but like a lot of the students that I've talked to, they said they got more out of being mentees under you than they got with any of the schooling they did at the college. Yeah.
And the college was kind of weird because I won't mention the college. I mean, the college, I like the idea around the college, and I get a lot of my students from there, although I have my own school itself now. Oh, that's what led me to do kind of my own school too as well, which was the misnomer was that it was too expensive for the kids, and my school's $10,000. and you spending 10 grand for 6 months and learning how the odds and ends of how to maybe kind of create a business, what cameras to be shooting on, shoot weddings. I tell every filmmaker, being a filmmaker or being a director is a rich man's game. If you're not rich and you don't have rich parents, forget about it. You got to learn how to fish. And how I teach you how to fish is like, here's the camera you buy. Here's how you get into doing projects for businesses around Vegas.
Yeah.
So that is kind of the complete process of from where I am, where I was and where I am now. So thank you guys so much.
Yeah. So that was pretty much it, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah,
this
exactly.
is where
That's
we're
it.
at now.
Yeah, exactly.
So we'll see. We got, what is it called? Rambo?
Yeah, Rochambeau.
Rochambeau.
Yeah, Rochambeau.
Okay.
Everyone does it. Rochambeau.
Okay.
Rock, paper, scissors.
Okay. So we got that coming out.
Mm-hmm.
What else you guys got going on? Anything?
Rochambeau.
Shout out.
Shout out to Christiana. She had a film that won. The actress that was in one of my movies won an award for Best Actress at a big film festival here in Las Vegas. Stephanie Corey, she won something too as well. She won a film festival down here called C47, I think. She won Best Film or whatever. So everybody. I mean, even Garrett won something too as well. But not Best Director, but Best Film. So a lot of people are winning things. There might be smaller film festivals or might be larger film festivals, but it doesn't matter. You're being acknowledged for your talent, and that's hard. I mean, I don't think I've won. I mean, we won something for. I didn't win Best Director. Starlight won Best Feature, but didn't necessarily mean that it was Best Directing. So
yeah.
I've never personally won anything, and I'm not jealous. I'm just happy for them. So, but yeah, no matter if it's small or large, and I'm trying to teach them. I'm putting Echo of Shadows and also Rochambeau in some film festivals. So we'll see what happens with that.
Well, if anybody's interested in learning film, or if maybe you just want to get some experience or whatever with acting.
Yeah.
They're always looking for people. And
always.
So, and please, only if you're going to actually show up.
Yeah. I mean,
that was the one thing that drove me the most crazy.
Yeah.
Show up and be on time and be ready. Like
Yeah.
that is big. But if anybody's interested in being a part of it, reach out to Lee.
Yeah. Real Fleet Academy, you can sign up there or whatever you want to do. So yeah, we're game for anything, and thank you for having me so much.
All right, thank you for coming on, and until next time, bye.